Hello and welcome to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. We're playing through this game on Twitch at the moment in a Nuzlocke format. There's plenty of rules and I'm sure you can search up Nuzlocke rules. They will be in the description below if you want to check it out. We meet Professor Rowan, who asks us for our name. He questions our name a couple of times before accepting it and telling us that our name is fine. We then meet our rival, who we named Josh after Mr. No Rugrats, another creator on Twitch. We are introduced to our mother, who tells us that Josh was coming to look for us. He said it was an emergency, so we decide to gap it and try and find him. We go and find Josh, who's always in a rush, smacks us in the face, gives us a concussion, and then blames us for what happened. He tells us that he's going to fine us $1 million if we're late to the lake, but our mum did say not to enter the tall grass because we'll be attacked. Josh tells us that he wants to search for a red Gyarados. We listen, and then he tells us that we need to lead the way. It's going to be really obvious that we're the main culprit of this if we get in trouble, even though it was Josh's idea. We're introduced to Lucas and Rowan, who look like they're on a nice romantic date. They leave their balls behind conveniently as we get attacked by Starly, and Josh tries to blame us again for what went on. We pick Chimchar, who's my second favorite in this generation, and these Starlies really don't stand a chance against the Chimchar. I love this little fire monkey, especially later on when it turns into a big fire monkey, kind of the most normal evolution line in the game. Rowan then storms off and Lucas decides to blame us for what happened, tells us to visit their meth lab a little bit later on before we go and tell our mum exactly what happened. We try and tell her that it was all Josh's fault before our mum disagrees and blames us because everything seems to be our fault. Our mum is some sort of contestant in a beauty contest or talent contest, but we find that out later on. We finally meet Rowan face to face, and he tries to invite us on a date like he had with Lucas before letting us nickname our Pokemon. Again, he questions our choices of nicknames before we go back and say goodbye to our mum and also Josh's mum. It's fitting that Josh's mum comes and says goodbye to us since we're in love with Josh's mum, and then we get our first encounter. Conveniently, it was a Starly. Starly is probably one of my favorite Pokemon in this generation, so it's fitting that we managed to run into it first. We nicknamed the Starly Quinn after one of the viewers in the stream, one of the loyal members of our community, so if we're still streaming this when you see this, feel free to join the Discord, come and catch me when I'm live, and you might get a Pokemon named after me. Quinn is quite fitting for a Starly since it's quite a rebellious Pokemon, and it actually looks like Quinn in real life, which is quite funny. So we name it Quinn with the 1 in the name, just like their username, and then we move on to going and being rudely interrupted by Lucas, who decides to show us how to catch Pokemon, even though he could see we already have a Starly in our inventory. Not sure why these catching tutorials are a thing anymore, but we then go and get an encounter, which turns out to be a Shinx. Shinx is also a pretty cool Pokemon, a powerful Pokemon at the start of the game since it's an electric type. We catch it and call it Rogue. We then get a watch from this person. We seem to be hit on by all the old men in this game. We go and get an old rod from our pal over here, who calls us his friend, before encountering a Magikarp on this route. A Gyarados, again, is a very powerful Pokemon to have early on in a playthrough. We just need to wait till level 20. But chat decided to hype up our next encounter, saying it was going to be shiny. We then run into a Budu, which wasn't shiny, but we name it Blossom, which is quite fitting since it evolves into a flower Pokemon. I was running out of money, so I decided to go beat up these kids for their lunch money when I found out that they actually had Abras. Weirdly enough, the Abras had Charge Beam, which I didn't think was too much of a threat because we had a Chimchar, but this Abra gets not 1, but 2 boosts in 2 turns from using Charge Beam. Not that that mattered because we managed to get a clutch burn and take the thing out. All our team managed to level up a little bit. Before we take on the second trainer, we heal to make sure we don't get crit by anything. Again, the Abra is pretty easy to take out. This one didn't get hacks like the first one, so we take it out with 3 embers. The second Charge Beam actually gets a boost, but not that it was anything for Squishy to take on. So we take out the Abra, claim their money, beat them up a little bit, and we leave going to fight our pal Josh. This fight kind of scares me with Josh because Josh is quite an inconvenience in this playthrough. I know he challenges you at the wrong times, and I know his team can get quite threatening later on in the game. He leads off with his Starly, and we unfortunately have Budu out first, so we have to switch because we don't want to get pecked to oblivion. I like Josh's team during this playthrough, and it's quite cool to see how he customizes it depending on what starter you choose. But we switch out from Budu straight into Rogue, and then Rogue took a tackle like a champ before firing back a Thundershock of his own. Starly hits us with a quick attack, which takes us down to half, but Shinx is quite a bulky Pokemon, so I'm not too worried. We then get crap talked by Josh before going for another Thundershock, taking another quick attack like a champ, and being able to take this thing out quite easily. Again, I know there's a joke with Josh or Barry not evolving his Starly or Staravia till really late in the game, which is weird because Staraptor is one of the strongest Pokemon in this generation, so surely he'd be smart enough to evolve it. He then weirdly enough sends out his Piplup against our electric type. I'd take this chance to heal up before thinking what he could actually use against us. He goes for a pound, which does almost a quarter. We then go for a Thundershock before he goes for a Growl. Again, I'm sitting here questioning why he sent out a Piplup. Our Thundershock does under half, way under half, so we know this is going to be a little bit stally. He goes for another Growl, which is confusing because it's only lowering our attack, but our Thundershock is a special attack. The second one manages to take it down to under half before again he crap talks us. The third Thundershock goes through as he gets another Growl. Our attack at this stage is pretty much non-existent, but our Thundershock is still doing pretty decent damage. We know that it's going to take one more before it goes for a pound. Doesn't take us down to below half, and we manage to take a Piplup out with a Thundershock. Barry then runs off crying, or Josh, sorry, runs off crying before we encounter a Bidoof. It's okay, Bidoof is an okay Pokemon, and then we go get our second encounter, which turns out to be a Geodude. Geodude's not too bad either, they're both okay. We then get introduced to this kid who tells us that we need to talk to our friend before finding out that the gym leader has run down to the mines and is camping down there scared to fight us. We managed to get another encounter instead of going down to the mines, which ends up being the Zubat, which is a perfect replacement for Quinn if, God help us, something happens to Quinn. Now onto the moment that I was scared about. We finally ran up to Rourke and told him that he needs to come and face us like a man. He showed us how strong he is by punching this rock, breaking it in half, and then looking at us, staring at us, and running off yet again. I ran around for quite a while trying to find an encounter. We already had a Geodude, so Onix was the only possible encounter we could have had down here. I believe we could have had a Zubat, but I never was able to run into them. But we had a Zubat already. We challenged Rourke, who looks like a bit of a moron with his helmet on. We send out Blossom against his Geodude. His team is Geodude, Onix, and Crandinos, so I decided to growth a couple times and set up ready for this Crandinos. I wasn't expecting the power and the speed of this thing, and I was thinking that an Absorb might be enough to take it out, but it outsped us, hit us with a headbutt, which dropped us down probably around 75%. We got a clutch poison point off before switching out, being really scared. We switched into Shazza, thinking Shazza was going to be able to take a hit, but this Super Crandinos decided to go for Leah. Now, I was confused because I thought this Crandinos would want to take out Budu as soon as it could, so we basically made a bad play there. It hit us with a Bulldoze, taking out Shazza, and leaving us with a Pokemon down. That was our first loss of the run, and I was very, very upset with that because I wanted to use a Golem for the first time. The Stealth Rocks hit Blossom, and we decided to go for an Absorb, but of course this thing outspeeds, hits us with a headbutt, and smacks us, making us lose yet another Pokemon. My misplay really cost us 2 Pokemon, and then the poison took it down enough so Quinn could take it out with a quick attack. I was really upset at this stage. I was sitting here questioning my life choices. Blossom was the best Pokemon. I was really looking forward to using a Roserade. After the battle, Quinn evolved into a Staravia, which was pretty awesome. We also evolved our Chimchar into a Monferno, where it decided it wanted to learn Mach Punch. I was pretty annoyed at this because Mach Punch would have been awesome to take out the Crandinos. We got our first gym badge, but at what cost? We literally lost 2 members of our party. We then meet up with Rowan and Lucas again before taking out 2 of the Galactic Grunts and Shinx decided it wanted to evolve as well. I talked to this old guy who decides to give us a really cool Pokemon, Jirachi, which I questioned with the stream if I should add it to the team or not, and I slept on it. We run into this galactic boss, this commander, who looks like quite a baddie. Their team was no threat for our Pokemon, and Monferno was able to take their lead out with a power-up punch, doubling our attack. We then switch out into Shinx once they send out their Zubat, because I didn't want to get hit with a Gust or a Wing Attack or anything like that. Our Onix leveled up and learnt Dragon Breath, which was pretty cool. And then yeah, out comes the Zubat. We switch, and then our Shinx, or our Luxio now, was able to take this thing out with a Spark. Astonish is an interesting move. I always thought it did more damage than it did, but this Zubat didn't live another second to see if it could hit us with the more attacks. We defeat Mars, and then leave the power plant and go over and get an encounter. And to my surprise, we managed to get a Shellos. Shellos is super cute, and I'm happy to add it to our team. This Weasel was proving a pain in the ass to catch, so I decided to hit it with a tackle, but an adamant nature Staravia destroyed it. We lost our encounter there. We then meet Cheryl, who Rogue in my Twitch chat was absolutely a fan of. We encountered a Whirlpool, and then we say goodbye to our beloved Cheryl, who has really nice boots. That's what Rogue was saying. We go to the underground, we meet Rourke, we get told how to use the underground, and we encounter a Lickitung, and then we catch this Lickitung, and then encounter a Murkrow, which is pretty cool. I enjoy using Murkrows in previous runs, and I'm excited to use it again. I speed up this battle because I'm pretty sure we used 17 Pokeballs on this Murkrow, which was really annoying. We healed up a bunch of times to try and keep Rogue from dying, but we decided to give myself 5 encounters in the total underground. So we used 2 encounters in this section of the stream, and then we decide just to go back up. But Murkrow is going to be a great addition to the team once we can, if we ever add it. I'm excited to hopefully use a Murkrow one day. And Honchkrow is a pretty cool Pokemon as well. As you can see here, it just would not stay in the Pokeball. Apparently there's a crazy statistic and percentages with Murkrow, but I wasn't aware of that. We then move on to countering the gym, and this gym was honestly absolutely a breeze. We had a Squishy, aka Monferno, and after a power-up punch, our attack was +1. We decided to go for Flame Wheels and literally take out the rest of her team. Cherubi, Turtwig. Sadly, Turtwig is such a cute Pokemon. And then their ace, which was a Roserade, literally rubbing in the fact that we can't use Roserade. And I was super sad about that because I love Roserade. It's such a good Pokemon. But as you can see that it could not take a Flame Wheel. Monferno's attack is just too good. And especially with that boost, we're able just to take it out with ease. Surprisingly, she was very happy for us. She gave us our second badge, and then we move on to running into the love of our life, Cynthia, Mummy, sorry, but we were over Cheryl in a heartbeat. We encountered a Ponyta, which is a good Pokemon, an amazing backup for Monferno if anything should happen to Monferno, and then we go back to the scary house, the cabin in the woods, and encounter a Ghastly. We're stacking up the PC. We have so much power in the PC at the moment. The next challenge was fighting this crazy purple-haired lady who again was part of the Team Galactic adventure. Jupiter, her name is, and another baddie. This game is just full of absolute baddies. Rogue was able to take the Zubat out with a Spark, absolutely destroying it, before the Skuntank came out. And again, I was really confused what to do here. I threw a Spark its way, which does just under half before it hit us with a flamethrower. I thought we were probably done for there. And to be honest, I was going to switch and bait the flamethrower and go out into Monferno, but I decided to stay in and get hit with a poison gas after its citrus berry popped. But Rogue is definitely a good enough Pokemon to take this thing out. So we go for another Spark, we hit it, and then we get hit with an Aftermath, and I thought we were done there. The Aftermath didn't do too much damage in the end, so Rogue was able to push through and beat Juniper. I was actually quite surprised that Rogue didn't go down to a Skuntank, considering I love Skuntank as well. We get on our bike, looking swaggy and fly. We chose the red bike because it's super cool. Wish we could choose a Cynthia bike, but we weren't able to. I rare candied on the Magikarp, finally getting us the absolute beast Gyarados. Gyarados decided to learn Bite. We added Gyarados to our little party section down the bottom there. As you can see, our team is getting absolutely packed. We encounter a Stunky, we catch that, and we go into the cave and stupidly encounter our Bronzong. I completely forgot that you could get Gibble in this cave, so we basically just gave up that encounter. We run into this scary motherfucker, aka Cyrus, and Cyrus decides to tell us about space and time before, again, just like our friend Josh, pushes us out the way, basically leaving us abused. For some reason, I thought we were going to get something crazy in this cave, but we end up encountering this thing. I don't know if we're ever going to use that thing. And then we also encounter Machop. We're clearing out this game quite quickly. This was the 3rd stream, but yeah. I'm really enjoying playing through this game actually. Like, the encounters have been quite good. We then run into our mum, who seemingly replaced us. She tells us that she's been a champion at these contests before, and we're going to have to come back and beat her. Next was Josh. Josh has now added quite a few Pokemon to his party. Again, he leads with Starly, which is weird. He should have a Staravia. We send out Dappy and decide to confuse this thing and almost one-shot it before it sets up a double team, which is super annoying. I could imagine this guy using a baton pass team. It endeavors us, and I literally almost pooped my pants. I panicked and switched out into Rogue, which is what we should have done from the start. Endeavor Quick Attack was something that I didn't expect, but it would have been crazy if he got it off. He then spams Double Team before we finally managed to hit ourselves a Spark, taking this Starly out after it almost caused havoc. He sends out his Prinplup, which is again really weird because he's sending out a Water type against an Electric type. He sets up Stealth Rocks before we hit it with a second Spark, taking it out, making this guy look like a complete fool. We keep getting XP, Quinn levels up, and then he sends out a Roselia, which is really cool. He's again rubbing in the fact that we can't use a Roselia or Roserade, but it's cool to see him getting some diversity in his team. We send out Quinn, who gets hit with the Stealth Rocks, takes a bit of damage, and then tanks a Magical Leaf like a champ. Wing Attack absolutely destroys this thing. One shot is all it needs. And then I was not expecting a Ponyta. I completely forgot that this guy had a Ponyta, but Wing Attack was able to do 75% at least to it. It hit us with a Growl, but an adamant, amazing Staravia was able to take it out with a second Wing Attack, which was awesome. We beat Josh yet again. Everyone decides to level up a little bit. Squishy learned Faint, which I taught it instead of Scratch, just because it could be useful down the track. I can't believe we beat Josh yet again. It's just super easy now. But I mean, we then go and counter this thing, and I thought the Cleffa was bad, but we encounter a Mime Jr. We then go and get Strength from this old couple, and then also a Cleanse tag from the lady. Strength is going to be good because Strength is quite a good move. It used to be Rock type, I believe, in Black and White. Here is where Tragedy decided to come our way. I thought Quinn was doing a great job taking out these things. It got hit with a Psybeam from Alakazam, and I was like, oh crap, like we're doomed here, but it lived. We take the Alakazam out with a Bite, and I was not expecting this guy to have a Gyarados. Now, Gyarados' defenses aren't all that, especially after it hit us with an Intimidate. I wasn't expecting our attack to be this low. I throw an Aerial Ace its way and also a Crunch, thinking that it was going to be enough to take it out. But as you can see, the Aerial Ace did not much, and the Crunch did even less. And I was crapping my pants here because it went for a Waterfall and destroyed Quinn, and I literally threw my controller on the ground and started crying. So I sat here mourning the loss of our beloved Quinn for quite some time. I was really looking forward to using a Staraptor, and that got taken away from us, just like all the other Pokemon in the PC. Quinn was an awesome addition to the team, and it was just a really nice typing and a really powerful mon. So we then managed to keep going somehow. We switch out into Rogue, who manages to come in and just take this thing out, just like what we should have done to begin with. It would have definitely taken a Waterfall, but Crunch crits this time, taking out the Gyarados. And I was like gonna end the stream right here and just give up on this game because I was so sad about our loss. And then our beloved Rogue decides to evolve, and it evolved into probably one of the coolest Pokemon in this generation, Luxray. If you guys want to see more of this playthrough, please let me know in the comments, like and follow for more. And also, if you want to be part of the stream and have a Pokemon named after you, be sure to check it out.